Hello, all you beautiful, valid people out there. It is your boy, Jay Wilson, back here in the house, and I am here with my friend and co-host.
It is Ariah, and I am here in a different house than Jay.
That was a dumb bit. That was a dumb joke. That was like dad joke, and I don't even have a dad, so I don't even know how I figured out that was like a dad joke, you know?
It's the dad joke that Jay doesn't like. Jay tells dad jokes, but a different kind of dad jokes than that dad.
I was sitting there at school, and I was talking to some people, and they were like, "Why do you make dad jokes? You don't even have a dad." And I was like, "Yeah, I got to make up for the fact I think I'm being original because I've never heard them before, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to make up for it."
Yeah, exactly.
But
you don't have a dad, so you are your own dad.
I'm my own dad. What is that?
In your life,
I am.
You are your own
grandpa.
masculine role model.
I'm my own grandpa. Fuck.
Oh God.
We back out here. Please sponsor me, Sundrop. I'm gonna say this every episode of the podcast.
Okay, if you're gonna get out your drink early, I guess I gotta get my drink early.
My drink was already sitting here, motherfucker. We just recorded a different video for a different thing.
Today I'm being fancy. I'm gonna have some wine. Got a red Moscato right here.
Moscato.
And a
how
monogrammed
fucking fancy
wine
do you have
glass,
to
by
be?
the way. Look, it's got an A on it. It's A for me, for Ariah.
A for me.
A for me.
A for me. I have the opportunity where I might be going to Europe, like next summer.
Nice.
Like at a band function, because I'm really big in band and stuff.
Look how fancy that is.
And that's awesome. And I was talking to some people, and we were like, yeah, whenever we go to Europe, I'm going to be, 18, 19 by then, so I won't have to care that much about anything. So, and, legally speaking, I'll be able to drink all over Europe. And I was like, wouldn't it be funny if I went to Europe and turned into an alcoholic? And
they were like, no, government.
No, yeah, exactly. And and everyone was like, no, you can't do that. And I was like, it's genetic, you can't blame me. And they're like, no, it's not technically genetic, you're just more susceptible to it. And I was like, shut up, it's funnier if I say it's genetic.
Well, when you're 19, Jay, you can come with me and we can drink in Canada, right next to here.
Do you have to be 19 in Canada?
In some provinces it's 18, some it's 19, but it's 19 in the part of Canada that's right next to Detroit.
Whack. I forgot Canada. I forgot that Canada is right next to Detroit.
Yeah, Canada is actually south of Detroit.
Whack. That's weird to think about.
And
that's
west.
weird to think about.
No, not really.
Yeah,
west.
I've just been in North Carolina this whole time, so I don't know that much. The only states that I've been to is Virginia, which is up a state. I'm only pointing up because it's up a state. It's not up in the heavens. That's where Virginia is.
Mm-hmm.
There's south of me is South Carolina, and then there's Tennessee, and I think those are the only ones I've been to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been all over the place. I was born in Arkansas.
Yeah, you told me that.
I lived in Michigan. I lived in Michigan for most of my life, but that time wasn't in order. Because I was born in Arkansas. I guess this is what we're getting into now, is a life story type thing. I was born in Arkansas, and at a home. Apparently, it was really, really icy that day. I am told that it was extremely beautiful outside because there was ice everywhere in the sun. It was sunny though, so the sun reflected off of all the snow and the ice and the trees, and it was apparently really, really icy and beautiful. However, the midwife was late because the roads were bad. So she ended up showing up at some point, and it was at a home. The house I was born in had a tree growing in the middle of the house. In the middle of the room, there was just a tree, a full tree growing in the middle of the house.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it's super cool. I want to have a house like that.
That sounds like a vibe.
Yeah, and then
hippie stuff for sure.
It was some of my parents' friends' house. And it was in Arkansas. It was technically outside of the city limits of Berryville, but that's on the birth certificate is Berryville, because that's the nearest place that I was born.
Yeah.
And from there, I don't really remember a lot of the early years, but I kind of drove around because my parents loved going to concerts, especially various incarnations of the Grateful Dead.
I love the Grateful Dead so much. They're one of my favorite people in the entire world.
So,
they're great.
Of course, Dead & Company is their current... I went to 4 Grateful Dead shows a few months ago.
Mm-hmm. And Dead & Company has John Mayer in it, which is cool.
Yeah, with John Mayer, yeah.
I love John Mayer so much.
Yeah, and it was pretty good. I'm not a huge Deadhead. My dad is, which is why he kind of dragged me to him. N did not like it.
And doesn't like Grateful Dead?
It's not that they didn't like the music. It's that they didn't like the experience of the concerts and the way that it happened, and therefore they're kind of more turned off to the music than they would have been before.
Yeah.
But it was
the
pretty cool.
Dead,
I mean,
I don't know.
it wasn't the most fun time I've had. In fact, there was a lot of problems with that trip in general. But the concerts themselves weren't bad. We were selling in the lot. Shakedown Street, we had some selling alcohol there, which is pretty good. We made some money. I made some money. We just bought a bunch of beer. We sold it like $5 a can. Some like actual good beer
money.
And such.
That's easy money.
On Shakedown Street, easy money. We were on tour, so I'll tell this story real quick because why not? It's a tangent and much more recent. But from Michigan, where we live, we went down to I think our first destination was North Carolina. Actually, we went to Asheville. That's it, Asheville, right? Yeah, Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah, Asheville's like right near me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not that. It's not. Is it near you?
It's like 2 hours off.
Yeah, it's 2 hours. Yeah. We went to Asheville first, and hung out with a friend there, with one of my dad's friends, overnight. And I went down to Nashville. It was pretty cool for a while. Then the next day we went to Charlotte, North Carolina, because that was where a Dead and Company show was.
I'm going to a concert there soon, which is really cool.
What venue?
The Underground.
You know? Okay, that's not the one I went to, but yeah, I went to a venue in Charlotte,
That's dope.
And that was a Dead and Company show. Then after that, we went to the next day to Atlanta, Georgia, which was the next show, and then
Wait,
from
so you
there
just went on the
Georgia,
tour with them? Like you followed them? Interesting.
We just followed them for a few. We were on tour. Followed them for a few shows.
You were following
just selling money, selling beers. Yeah, we had a place in Shakedown Street. So
Wait, so you got to see John Mayer live?
Yeah.
What
like
the
4
fuck?
times.
I love him.
Aw.
Dude, John Mayer's so good. Like he's one of my favorite guitarists. Like he back in the 90s he was kind of a shitty person because he was really arrogant because he thought he was way better than other people. But like he's so good. He's grown up and like all of his stuff like Slow Dancing in a Burning Room's one of my favorite songs in the entire world because I love playing it on my guitar so much. He's just such a vibe as a person and he's one of the most versatile guitarists that's ever touched a guitar. And I just
John Mayer's cool.
Vibe.
I like Bob Weir more than John Mayer, but
yeah, that's
like in
fair.
terms of Dead and Company members.
Yeah,
Bob Weir said
definitely.
some funny shit, especially like about and like he's talked about LGBTQ issues and stuff. I forget the exact quote. Let me see real quick. Yeah. Grateful that Bob Weir believes says that believers in homophobia and ISIS share the same hatred.
Wait, what?
Bob Weir compared homophobes to ISIS. It was so funny. Yeah.
He called homophobe. Sounds like something I'd say.
Believers in homophobia and ISIS share the same hatred.
To be fair, I feel like I'd say that. I feel like I'd say that, but a lot more on the nose. I love that so much.
He's
but
cool.
dude, I love the Dead. I actually have my capo. It has a Grateful Dead quote on it. The "Let there be songs to fill the air."
Oh my gosh, I love it. Gosh, yeah. My dad, you could talk about that for hours because he loves them so much. Yeah, I know some of their songs, of course, but I don't know them super well.
Yeah,
from Georgia, we went to, I think the next show was in Texas. We went to Dallas and Austin, Texas, the two shows there.
Dude, fuck Texas.
Austin's cool. But yeah,
no.
Texas
I'm saying like Texas, like right now,
the
in the current state of things.
Yeah. The government of Texas.
Like I don't like
Florida.
to get political, but I don't think it's political. It's like human rights, you know.
Yeah. I mean, Florida's also doing a whole thing right now. There's like a
I remember you posting
that
in our Discord server.
Yeah, like they're trying to make it like currently the conservatives of Florida are trying to make it so that if a kid is found, if like a school knows that a kid is gay, they're enforced. They have to tell their parents about it, even if there's suspected abuse.
Yep. Which
is stupid. Just dumb.
Dude, like, but in Texas, they're, like, taking kids, like, they're trying to make it so, I don't know if it's already went through, if it's almost through or something, but they're trying to make it so that kids are, like, taken away from their parents if they're found to be. that because that's like child abuse apparently according to them. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very gray area. Like, of course, you can't say anything's black and white. Like, that's bad because that's not always true, you know? But it is true sometimes. So it's the kind of thing where it's like they tried to fix a problem by, like, doing something that caused more problems than it fixed. I don't know. It's
just such a transphobic state is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like you know, they're saying that it's abuse, but they're letting their kids do that. Is what they're trying to say. That's why it drives
that they're
me
letting it. Yeah, that's stupid. That's horrible.
That's why.
Yeah,
that's why I'm really mad. Like if the parents know and they aren't doing anything about it, that's suspected abuse.
Well, here's the thing. That's not even how it works. Like there's no like literal children are taking hormones.
That's what I'm saying. It drives
the
me
most
mad.
they're doing is taking T blockers, you know, which have no permanent effects. You know, like that's the major transphobe argument. It's like, oh, aren't you worried about the permanent effects of HRT? And like, it's like, well, there are permanent effects of HRT, but T blockers there are not.
Yeah, that's right.
But the permanent effects of HRT is the point, like the reason why people take HRT. But
exactly.
like
They want
T blockers is what you'd give.
Effect,
you'd give like AMAP children, right? You'd be like, all right, well, let's delay puberty. You know, let's delay some of those physical changes from puberty until you're an adult, so you can actually make that decision for what you want to do by giving you T blockers, which is completely not permanent, right? And of course, consensual on the kid, right? But it's again not permanent, so that's fine. And also, kids are a lot smarter than adults think they are for some reason. So
yeah, definitely.
Like, give them a chance.
I don't understand. I just don't understand it. You know.
Me neither.
I just wish that people could let other people live because it drives me insane. Excuse me, and I'm tired of hearing people saying that this shit isn't okay. Well, because it totally is. There's nothing wrong with it, my dude. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like literally nobody is getting hurt in this situation.
That's what I'm saying.
In fact, everyone involved is doing better. Than they were.
It helps their mental health. It makes them feel better, and that should be a bigger factor than I don't agree with it. I mean, it's like, man.
And also especially like the hypocrites who are like, you can't get HRT, you can't get like, I don't know, a boob job or a facial feminization surgery or whatever, right? But then are like totally okay with other plastic surgeries for cis people. It's like, well,
it makes me really upset. I don't know.
It's just somebody wanting to change their body because it makes them feel better and stuff. And I don't get the argument against plastic surgery, to be honest. I wouldn't get like plastic surgery other than perhaps some gender affirmation surgeries and stuff maybe down the line. I'm not even sure. But like I wouldn't like get a nose job or whatever. Like that's not me, you know. But like it hurts nobody. If somebody wants to spend their money on it, if it makes somebody feel better, then great. It doesn't hurt anybody. It's a personal decision, you know. Same with like Botox surgery and stuff. Like I wouldn't get that. I will never get Botox. I that is not going to help me. I do not want it. But some people do want it. Some people does help them for whatever reason, you know, and they should get it, right? And it's the same thing. It's like a lot of these plastic surgeries have permanent effects, you know, and we're not being like, oh, but it has a permanent effect, therefore it's bad, you know. But then we have things like this, like HRT, or you know, and facial feminization surgery and other gender affirming surgeries. They are treated as less important, and they're bad, like. Like, you know, aren't you worried about permanent effects? We shouldn't have this. Why should we just, you know, this? I don't even know what their argument is, to be honest. Like, it's really not hurting anybody. It's just a personal decision. It's a person wanting to change.
I'm just tired of people trying
to
butt their heads into other people's personal opinions. Like, it flashes back to, like, I don't know, last week whenever we were talking about not letting other people affect your decisions. What sucks is whenever like governments and other people like force their way into your decisions. Now that's awful. Like, you know, like creatively speaking, that's a whole different ball game. But like this is awful.
You know, like this might turn into a political episode, Jay. But I am pretty openly anarcho-communist. And I'm sure those words scare some people. Probably even scare some of you guys and think that it's like horrible and I'm a horrible person for believing this stuff. But like, breaking it down, an anarcho-communist is somebody who believes in anarchy and communism kind of merge together, right? And anarchy, communism, right? Mm-hmm. Anarchy means lack of government, and communist means basically from each according to their have to each according to their need, or to each. Yeah. Oh no, from each according to their ability to each according to their need. That's it. That's it, right? One person knows how to build a house, or fix a roof. Another person is growing a lot of food. Great. Mm-hmm. Give some food to one person. That person fixes your roof. It's a barter system. Communism. It's a community, right? Communism literally has the root word community. Like it is a community. There is no class system in communism. There are no rich. There are no poor people. Everyone is equal. It's really the ultimate. Communism is the ultimate equality. It's the ultimate even equity, even between people. And the anarcho aspect of it is there shouldn't be a ruling class. Mm-hmm. There shouldn't be a government. Everyone should govern each other and themselves. There should be checks and balances within the entire community.
Yeah, the issue in general with ever getting to that state, especially in America, is it's a buzzword. Like instantaneously, like the South and like the right is turned off instantaneously because of what they've been taught their whole lives.
Which is why there needs to be communist and socialist ideals introduced under different names.
Yeah, definitely, and then move that way. But I don't think that's going to happen, or at least not in our current state.
I mean, like that's a big thing. Like when I say anarcho-communist, like this is my in a perfect world, like that's the goal, right?
Unfortunately,
anarcho-communism as an anarcho-communist, that is the goal. But I recognize that there is no clear way to get there from here, right?
Yeah, I'm just
you have to take small steps.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing, sorry, you can keep going. I'll bring it up.
No, you go first.
The other thing with not being able to do it is just the fact that it's never been implemented correctly.
Correct. Communism has never been. That's not true. That is actually not true. It's never been implemented correctly in the kind of scale that would be required these days. It has been implemented correctly for a millennia in like small villages. Before.
Well, yeah, but I mean like
city-states,
an entire nation
city-states,
never
or in tribes,
Mm-hmm.
But yes, an entire nation has not done that before.
Like no country's ever been able to pull it off without it turning awful.
I would argue the concept of countries is kind of not important anyways. If we got communism and such, in our communism, I think there doesn't need to be a globalization like power. Like
no. I'm just
concepts
saying
like the internet and such. Like
I'm just
being
saying
able to connect people and stuff.
I'm just saying like the most popular ways that I've seen it done, like it, as in like
for sure.
Like that in those most popular ways, it's shown awfully and what the worst of it could happen, and thus that's why most people are anti even listening to it.
Oh yeah, and because that's the other thing is like as you said, it's buzzword, right? So like the word communist, when somebody thinks communist, they think Russia, which right now is pretty topical considering the whole thing with Ukraine, which I don't really want to go into.
I hate that.
But fucking Russia's committing war crimes. But they think Russia, they think those kind of people, they think North Korea, they think China, like imperialist China. And it's like those countries were not communist. They are not communist. Even ones that claim communism, like when Russia claimed communism, they're like, oh, we're the USSR, we're communist, right? Really that word was being attacked from both sides. Because communism was always a good thing before that. It was the perfect society, right? So Russia used the word in order to get its people on board. It's like, oh, we're becoming communist. We're doing communist things. So everyone should be happy. We should all be on board because, great, look how good our country is. We're doing communism. And then the U.S. was like, they're not doing good things. They're doing horrible things. Communism bad. And that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
It just got attacked on both sides. When really it wasn't communist. It wasn't true communism.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
that was the word that they could use. They were able to use that word to make it so everybody else.
But yeah, I mean that's really what it is.
The Red Scares and such back
in my mind, obviously I'm not a politician, so I can't really talk too much to exactly what needs to be done. But there are plenty of people way more qualified to talk about that than I, so I don't really actively talk about it a lot. But I do follow a lot of people who talk about it. And I mean, in my mind, while I am a communist, I agree with a lot of the socialist parties and stuff on a lot of things, because that is the next step, is socialism. Introducing socialist ideas like universal health care, basic universal income, some ideas that have been thrown around in the U.S. As of late, which are all socialist issues, which I agree a lot with a lot of the socialist parties. I also consider myself to be an open-minded individual, so if you disagree with anything that I'm saying today, please reach out to me. I would love to have a conversation with you. Because I'm open to hearing your perspective, and also open to, talking about specific points you might bring up if you're curious or anything like that. Because I do want this to not be a I'm right and you're wrong situation, but this is how I feel, and I'm open to having a conversation with you about it.
My thing with politics in general is that I don't really care to talk about it that much, because honestly it gets so frustrating at a certain point. And it feels like I've heard the same thing over and over again, but due to the fact that nothing can be done in our current state, it feels like I'm just hearing the same things over and over again from both sides, and I'm really frustrated with it. So, like, we can talk about it, but I'm just saying, like, my friend, a really good friend of mine that I'm around all the time, like, they constantly bring up, like, communism and stuff, and, like, it's cool, don't get me wrong, but it feels like I'm just running circles, like, hearing the same things over and over and over again, and I just, like, I don't know.
Well, we're not going to have enough content to fill this whole video, the whole podcast with just this.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just saying, like, in general, when it comes to politics, I kind of don't like talking it very much, because I don't pay attention to
it's frustrating. It's a frustrating topic.
It's frustrating, and it feels like everyone else knows a lot more than I feel like I've been educated a lot more than I ever would have before, and I feel like I get educated, but I don't feel like having that be an entire topic of conversation,
Oh, agreed. Yeah, totally agree. I mean, yeah, I'll move off of it just in like, yeah, we'll move off it like now if you'd like to.
I'm not at all like frustrated right now. I'm just saying in general when it comes to politics, like I don't want somebody running at me for my opinions or anything. And like,
I agree. I mean, if we're talking about politics today, then that's probably going to be the only politics like content that we'll have on this. Yeah,
podcast I'm just not that passionate about it. Like I'm not sitting here like a lot of people. I don't know.
I'm not really that passionate about it. I kind of feel bad for not being super passionate about it. Like, I have my viewpoints and I have what I think is great, but like I'm obviously not actively involved. I'm not a politician. I'm not trying to get elected for anything. I'm not really emailing Congress people and stuff because I'm not
thing
super
is just
active.
Treat people right. That's it.
Yeah, treat people right. I'll show up to protest occasionally if they're good and if I can, because it depends on what's going on. But that's really it in terms of activeness. So I can sit here and talk about the ideal society all day, and really, like, I'm not really super involved. So,
Yeah. It just feels like talking about the same thing over and over sometimes. That's the issue with politics, in my opinion.
That is the problem with politics, because everyone has different opinions, and there's not really a good way to...
There's no universal opinion, and that's what's annoying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, the worst part is that human rights isn't even a universal opinion.
Yeah, that's the real thing. Is a lot of these issues, a lot of the political issues that I'm most concerned about, shouldn't be political issues.
They aren't politics. They're just people being people, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Abortion, things like trans rights, LGBTQ in general rights. Like, these things shouldn't be political. They're just fucking like things that should exist always. And even environmental stuff. Treating the environment right, saving our planet, that shouldn't be political.
It isn't dude. If I have to hear, if you're sitting there like that climate change isn't a thing after all these years, then I'm really like disappointed, and like I don't even think I can have a functioning conversation with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, see, like at this point, I feel like most of the world has agreed that climate change exists. Everyone just has different opinions on what we should do about it and how severe it is.
Like some people, but if you're of the opinion that nothing needs to change, that's all. What I'm trying to say is that I can't have an opinion. I can't have a talk with you.
Yeah, agreed. It's
because things. I think things should be ever changing. Like,
I mean, what's the whole thing? Okay, here's the last like big politics thing I'm going to talk about then.
For sure.
So it's the concept of the left and the right wing, right? Of the progressives and the conservatives, right? Conservatives don't make any sense to me, right? Their entire viewpoint is traditionalism. It's the idea that, hey, things are good, or things were good before. We should do that. We shouldn't move forward. We should stay with what's good. And, like, first of all, we had slaves back then. So, are you saying we should have slaves? No, you're not, right? No, there's no way. So your argument is that because we did it before, it's the right thing. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't hold. And I'm sure there are conservatives that don't use these kinds of logic, but that's really overall what the right-wing party overall, what the
right-wing people overall about to bust into our podcast going, well, actually, hypothetically speaking,
Yeah, not saying that there aren't good conservatives or conservatives that actually like critically think about issues. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are. What I mean is the general concept of not being progressive. The general concept of sticking to past ideals. It's like, yes, things used to be that way. But as we've seen, slavery, things used to be pretty bad. So we can't have traditionalism be the primary focus in how things should be.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Which I feel like a lot of right-wing people are. And a lot of that, unfortunately, comes from religion, which will be a whole other topic that I think we can talk about pretty constructively. Again, like I've stated before, religion isn't... I don't have anything wrong with religious people. I think there's a lot of religious people that use religion very healthily in their lives and helps them a lot with hope and such. And I think that's fantastic. I have a problem with established religion. I have a problem with a lot of things religion itself as an entity does. But religion is at fault for most of the traditionalist stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Because the Bible hasn't changed other than translation, but like the concept of the Bible, the stuff in the Bible hasn't changed and it was written, right? So that's traditionalism. Having religious values is traditionalism, is a form of traditionalism, which is where a lot of this conservatism comes from, because they use the same thing. It's like, oh, this is God's will. God said this, so it's always going to be this way. We don't need to change and progress. And it's like, I've got problems with that, Not only is the Bible probably not accurate because of translation stuff, but also, just... in general, things should progress forward as we learn more things about science, as we learn more things in general. Things should progress forward. Things shouldn't stay in the past, right? Which is the primary left versus right economic argument, is the progressive versus conservative. And I don't understand the concept of traditionalism because it's not... it's not good. It's not good. Traditionalism isn't good. There's a difference between culture and tradition, right? I strongly believe in culture. I think there's a lot of culture that's really important, really interesting aspects of society, different people from around the world. I don't agree with the modern day kind of like getting rid of culture thing, people are forgetting cultures and moving away from culture and stuff. And I think that's it's not inherently bad, it's to each their own type thing. If you don't want to look into your culture, that's fine. But culture is not tradition, right? Mm-hmm. Culture has traditions. And I think those traditions should be critiqued and should be strongly looked at and figured out if this is a tradition we should keep. There are a lot of cultures that are homophobic, for example, right? But it's not the culture that's homophobic; it's the traditions the culture holds that are homophobic. So those traditions need to be more scrutinized, right? Mm-hmm. And we should drop some of the traditions that are bigoted and drop some of the positions that are traditionalist and anti-progressive, yeah. Right? Things that are against progress should be dropped. But culture as general, the food, the aesthetics, be it the architecture, the clothing, all of these really important, like the language, all these other cultural aspects that are non-human rights orientated should be preserved. So anti-traditionalist, pro-culture. I could talk about this for hours, and I shouldn't for this podcast because it's just me monologuing. But yeah, I guess that's the Cliff's Notes on my stance on things. But feel free to reach out if you're unclear.
Generally speaking, I just think people should treat other people well, and everybody should try to move on from whatever ideas that they have and try to challenge themselves constantly to see if they need to change how they're acting or how they look at things. Because I feel like I've done that my whole life.
That's really the takeaway here is. Regardless of your beliefs, I want you to think about your beliefs. Mm-hmm. I want you to think about what you believe and think critically and just think, hey, am I right? And just let your guard down because it's only yourself. Nobody's going to judge you. Mm-hmm. You just have to think critically about your own beliefs, because if you can do that, then you can immediately spot a faulty thing. If there's anything in your beliefs that you can't explain and some other thing explains better, well... then it makes sense to jump ship, or and I'm not saying you have to change your beliefs. I'm saying just think about it, right?
Definitely.
Because a lot of the times, a lot of beliefs do have, like a lot of traditionalist beliefs do have various relatively obvious issues, but a lot of people are closed-minded, not by choice, but because this is how they were raised, this is how they thought, this is just how they grew up, right? But then if they take a moment to think about it, and with an open mind, they have an open mind, and they're like, I don't care if I'm right or not. I just want to know the truth. And they think about it with that mindset. Then they can come up with a lot more progress. And it might not, maybe someone does that and they don't end up in the same opinion as me. And that's fine. I'm not saying you should believe what I believe. I'm saying you should believe what you believe, not what your parents told you to believe.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
So think about your beliefs, think critically, read about information, do research, talk to people, expand your horizons, and get more information on what you believe, and therefore decide for yourself what you believe, not what your parents believe, not what your entire city believes, but what you believe.
Definitely.
That's really the takeaway here. Is that's the most important.
Go against the grain if you have to. Just try. Don't let yourself sit in a place where you don't agree with everything that everyone else agrees with, but you say that you do, so that you don't get whatever, any type of smack or whatever about it.
Or if you are in that situation where you have to do that for your own protection, and that's fine.
Yeah,
just make sure you've got your own
in your head. Just make sure in your head that you know who you are and how you feel about things. That's all.
Yeah. Don't mindlessly repeat what your parents said, or
definitely, and don't mindlessly repeat what we say. Either.
Yeah. Don't mindlessly repeat what we said either. Like, think about it. Do your own research. This is very important. Make your own conclusions.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard a million different opinions in my life, and I keep my own opinions at the top of all that, and I think that's what everybody should do.
Yeah, and as long as those opinions are
always
change,
like what I'm saying is always take everyone else into account, but at the end of the day, your opinion's your own. Is what I'm saying. Always
and by everyone else into account, I mean
information as you can.
Your parents.
Take in as much information as you can, and then form your own opinion off that. Because I feel like I've always done that, and I've been really good at that in my life so far.
Yes.
And I hope that everybody learns to do that somewhere. And I'm not trying to put myself up on a pedestal or anything. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, just try to figure out what everyone else thinks and see what you think about it, and try to take everyone else's opinion into account, even if you don't think it's that light. Even if you completely 100% disagree, at least give it a shot. That's all I'm saying. So that I just feel like if everyone was a little bit more open-minded, we'd be living in a way better world right now.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so moving on from politics because I'm getting really bored. I'm going to a concert. I'm going to a concert at the Underground in Charlotte soon, which is really cool. I'm going to see this.
Yeah. What band is that, by the way?
I'm going to see multiple people. There's Breakins, who's an artist I found last year or 2 years ago. It was a little while after I met you. I found them, and Aries is another guy that I'm going to see, and they've got they're in the hyperpop scene. And I
love it.
And Breakins is somebody that me and my little sister have liked a lot for forever. We blasted him in the car and stuff. And Aries is another guy that I've listened to a lot of his discography. And this will be my first concert that I'm ever going to. And of course, because I'm such a music head, that's kind of crazy. People in the audience going, "Holy shit, you haven't been to a concert? What the fuck?" Because I know whenever I tell
Jay
people in my life
lives
that
in the middle of nowhere on a mountain in North Carolina, so. Yeah, Jay doesn't really.
There's no venues
really
around here, man. If there were venues around here, I don't think I'd ever be home. I'd be living in a venue.
Yeah, the closest venue is probably the one you're going to, and 2 hours away.
That's what I'm saying. Of course, in my town, Boone, which is right there. I don't really care that much if people know where that is. But there's
Boone is relatively not relatively far from you, but
exactly.
Relatively close considering.
It's 45 minutes to an hour off.
Yeah.
But you go over there, and of course, there's the people have played at Appalachian State, which is the college there and stuff. But that's not really. It's a lot of country artists, and not really people that are my favorite people in the entire world. Not to shit on country music. I know a lot of people are very oh my god, I hate country music. I don't really have a preference against any type of music at this point in my life.
Country music isn't necessarily for me. I don't hate it. It's just. A lot of it being discussed and the way the music is not my favorite in terms of what I like to listen to, but I don't think it's bad by any means. I've listened to country that I've enjoyed. By and large, it's not the genre that I listen to, but it's not bad.
I grew up on country, so of course there's certain artists that are, will hit me and my nostalgia feels and stuff, and certain new country artists that I like Tyler Childers. He's a guitarist and stuff. I like him a lot. He's got some feel good stuff in his discography that I like. But I'm really excited to go to a concert because, music is my entire fucking being. I think everybody in my life could agree with me whenever I said that. Literally, I was out at dinner at a birthday thing that I set up well, I didn't do it all myself. So that feels narcissistic. Me and a few other people set up a birthday thing for a couple different people. And while we were sitting in the fucking restaurant, while everybody else was like having their own conversations, I was like drumming on my cup and like singing along to a song that I have in my head, because I have like this radio that's like probably an antenna. I think it's invisible, but it like comes out the back of my head sometimes. And I'll just like start hearing random songs in my head like all the fucking time. Sometimes they're even songs that haven't even been written yet. Like all of a sudden my head will come up with like all these different melodies and like a drum beat and stuff. I'm like, holy shit, I wish this song existed because this shit slaps.
Then you gotta write it. You gotta write it. You gotta make it.
Exactly. Like this morning, I was sitting. Well, I mean, even last night, I was sitting there in a call with like Ariah and our other good friends Teo and Theodore, and we were sitting there.
And
oh yeah, N was there. I'm sorry. I always like because you guys are on one thing. I always like put you guys together in my mind, and I don't mean that as like oh yeah you guys are the same person or something. You know, I just like it completely slipped my mind. But like my Wi-Fi was going out constantly because my Wi-Fi can be complete and utter dog shit sometimes. And whenever my Wi-Fi went out, I had like this piano riff that I was working on, and I just completely wrote like an entire song out just within like 2 minutes. And I'm very happy that I'm able to do shit like that because it's very like it shows that I've grown.
Take pride.
I've grown.
Viewers/listeners, take pride in the fact that you listen to this podcast before Jay Wilson becomes a famous musician.
I'm gonna be rich and famous, and I mean it's gonna be so cool and awesome whenever you're like, I was one of the OGs.
Yeah, right. Come on.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Even people in my life, I've literally told them I'm gonna be rich and famous, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Okay, Jay. What's the code word? We come up with the code word, right?
What, like
in this podcast, like episode 3 of the podcast, right? Nobody's gonna listen to this episode unless they've like listened to the 2 and are actually interested in listening, right? Like this episode 3, nobody's gonna listen to episode 3 unless they're listening to the podcast overall, right? Mm-hmm. So what's a code word that they can say either like tomorrow or in 10 years time if they meet us that is like a sign that they're an OG fan?
I was about to say Rest in Soundque, but that's gonna be my sunglasses company. It's gonna be my record label.
Nice.
It's sorry, that word is like it's gonna be hugely famous. It's a word that got made up like years ago, but really? I've been using it. It's a word you could Google it and you wouldn't find anything. It's Rest in Soundque.
I see.
That's it. I'm dropping that.
How do you spell it?
RESINSOUNQUI.
Rest in Soundque.
Rest in Soundque.
I see.
And
it might be a little harder for people to remember, but sure, we'll go with it.
No. That's not gonna be the word because that word is gonna be so famous one day that it's not gonna be a good code word. That word's like I'm gonna make my own like sunglasses company that's gonna make glasses like this. Like I'm planning on making like pentagram lenses and stuff. It's gonna be so cool.
Okay.
And it's gonna be my own record label that I'm gonna have. It's gonna be so many different things. It's gonna be like my entire brand. You know, like Odd Future's entire brand. It's like they have like you know like the donut and the F. You know, like it's like the carton and stuff. Like it's like that. Like that's gonna be my brand, and I'm gonna run with it.
All right, sounds good. So,
but a good code word to run with would we could honestly throw in World Ender Pastries.
World Ender Pastries, yeah. I mean that's a classic. That's the classic Ariah Jay meme, right? So.
Yeah, but like unless you watch us, then you won't catch it. You know.
Yeah, World Ender Pastries. Yeah. If you're
or W.
If you ever see us in person and want to show that you're a fan, you can just say, "Hey, so when you're opening a pastry shop."
Yeah, exactly. Say something about the pastry shop, or like,
just
honestly, shop. They just have to bring up one of our old bits. That's it.
Just one of our old bits, yeah. I mean, like, you know, if they're a podcast listener and not necessarily a YouTube channel listener, like, if you don't watch our YouTube videos at all and just listen to the podcast, you are just as
you're 100%
we love
valid.
You just as much.
Hit us hit us with a reference that's obviously probably going to come off the podcast at some point. Be like, so how long till you're rich and famous, huh? And I'm going to be like, what do you mean by that? You know, like shit like that, you know. Like I'd like to say that I know a word that would be good to last for a good 10 years, but I wouldn't remember it.
Yeah. Honestly, World Ender Pastries is probably the most likely to last.
Yeah, World Ender Pastries, I'll probably remember shit like that. But like PewDiePie had a word for a while that if fans caught it, then they'd have to say something.
Yeah.
God, but like, you know, there's so many things. I'm very excited for that. And like I don't mean to brag whenever I talk about playing music and stuff. It's just what I enjoy to do, so I bring it up sometimes.
Of course.
My favorite thing is that the people in my life, I don't even tell them about shit like this. I've said that already, but it's so great. I love that, like, I don't tell them how often I write and stuff like that. Like, they have no idea that it's... like, they know that I'm going to be rich and famous for music, but they've never heard me play any of my music or anything, and that's the best part.
I love it. That's so good.
Because I upload shit, like of course on YouTube and stuff, and like they've never seen it, and that's the funny part, you know. Like if I ever got rich and famous off of this YouTube or this podcast or off my own shit, like none of the people in my life would know until it caught them like naturally, and they'd be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I love that. It's so cool.
It's such like a, you know, like I think that would be so cool, like one day, like an old person from high school or something being like, "Yo, is that you?" And it's like my headlining tour, you know. Like, that would be so badass. That's going to be such a badass feeling whenever it happens. And, you know, manifestation, like we said last week.
Of course, manifestation, yeah.
So generally
which may or may not be a real thing, but just, you know, positive thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Like, manifestation implies that, like, it's going to happen. But, like, you know, like, I'm just being positive and optimistic. And that's all you can do in this life. You go insane if you sit there and try to and be rational all the fucking time, you know what I mean? I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
So there's stuff like that. I'm excited for that. What else is coming up? I don't know if there's anything really else coming up that I'm not excited for.
In like 2.5 months, you're graduating from high school, right?
Oh shit! Are we gonna bring that? Okay. I still think it's crazy that I've known Ariah for a good 2 years, and I was like 15 years old whenever I talked to Ariah for the first time, and I'm about to be 18, and I'm about to graduate from high school, and that's fucking wild.
Yeah.
Ariah's watched my entire fucking development.
Yeah, since your sophomore year.
Since my sophomore year, and I'm senior now, which is wild. Like, do you even remember what I was like whenever we first met?
You weren't that different, to be honest. I mean, well, when we first met, you were a little more reserved. It was like you, but like at 30% capacity.
Yeah, I was about to say, it was me with like a bunch of notches turned down on the amp, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you turned me way down, and I talk a lot less, and I kind of talk like this, and I'm like, "Hey, how's it going?" You know, I sounded like an introvert, which doesn't surprise me that you thought I was an introvert.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's just, I mean, you were a shy extrovert, and you still are. I mean, I don't know actually how shy you are, since I don't see you interact with new people, but I'm a shy extrovert.
I'm not that shy anymore. There was a point where I used to be really shy, and like sometimes I can get really overwhelmed in social situations. Like at that birthday thing in the middle of the restaurant, part of why I was playing a song on my glass was because I was getting really overwhelmed because there was like 10 whole people sitting at the table, and like overall I was just getting really overwhelmed with all the people, which like doesn't happen very often, and I'm not sure why it happened. I think I just got really in my head about stuff, and like I hadn't eaten. I ate like one slice of pizza that whole night. Paid for like half the tab though, so that's pretty cool.
Oh jeez, that's cool though.
I love paying for things. The reason that I don't know if I've ever talked about paying for things, but that's like a really important thing to me whenever I do stuff. You know, like whenever Ariah came down, I paid for like the hotel stay.
Yeah, you paid for my hotel room.
You know, and like
awesome.
I the reason that I do stuff like that, I don't even know if I've told Ariah this at a certain point, but I grew up really poor. You know, like I grew up in a household that like sometimes we wouldn't even have electricity on and stuff, but like, you know, like even whenever we started making money, I used to never want to ask my parents for anything. So like I'd go to like marching band events and stuff like without any cash on me, and you were supposed to bring money for like lunch and stuff. You know, and I'd walk into the restaurants, and I wouldn't even go and walk into the line because I had no cash, so I'd just go sit at a table or something, and everyone would be like, "Why aren't you eating or anything?" I'd be like, "I don't have any money." So I just sit there. And, you know, the best part was that the whole band would pull together money and buy me stuff. You know, and it's one of the most wholesome things in the entire world. And that's why I fucking love buying things for people, because I never want any kid to have to go through that. Because, like, I felt like shit for so long for people feeling like they had to do stuff like that. Because I never wanted to ask, and I never did ask, I don't think. Because
I think a little less extreme than you, but I'm very similar. Do you want to finish? Sorry, you were saying something?
No, I was just... That's overall the entire thing. It's just, like, I love paying for stuff just for that general reason.
Yeah, I do too. Obviously, like, the reason that Jay was able to pay for my hotel room is that was a prerequisite for coming, right? Because I was like, we were talking about it, and I was like, well, I don't have the money to like pay for stay there, unfortunately. So that's why, and Jay was like, oh, I can pay for it. I'm like, are you sure? Like, I made sure that he was sure. But
I don't even remember
that was
how much
how we were
money
able
it
to go
was.
there. Because I had to pay for gas and all that, and I went down and I paid for an Airbnb for a while. But so I was pretty low on money. But in high school, I was the same way, and even before that, like I grew up pretty poor. My dad only had money for food and stuff because of food stamps, and such like that. So I don't know. I don't really know the details. I didn't ask, and I don't really want to ask. But it wasn't the greatest time. I didn't have any money. I never had an allowance. Never had anything like that. So I was kind of just always broke. Occasionally, I would get presents for my birthday and Christmas and stuff like that. That could be like, oh, you got a DS or a Wii for the house or something, So I had some games and stuff growing up, but I never had any spending money ever. In high school, for the longest time, I couldn't really go do anything because I didn't have the money for it. Except for in very rare situations where my dad would be able to be like, yeah, here's some money, or my mom would be like, here's some money to go do this cool thing. But then, sometimes we'd go to a coffee shop and stuff, and, my friends would buy me a drink, or my friend would, we'd carpool. My friend would stop at Starbucks on the way, and I'd be like, oh, I don't have any money, and she'd be like, that's okay, I'll get you something.
Yeah, exactly.
Or things like that. And that always made me feel nice. And there was other situations where people would buy me more things or just hand me a copy of a game I wanted, like my friend Jade, and like, I don't know. It always made me feel great, but also bad that I couldn't do the same for people. So I always wanted to do the same for people. So when I got my first job, I would buy things for people. I'd be like, nope, I'm buying your drink today. And still, I just if I have any money at all, I'm gonna pay for my friend's dinner. I'm gonna pay for my friend's drink. I'm gonna do that for people because
my issue right now is that I'm out of a job. I don't know.
Yeah,
keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I
didn't mean to interrupt.
No. It's fine. I'm pretty much done. I'm just like that's the main thing is I remember how it made me feel when people paid for my stuff. So I want to pay for other people's stuff to make them feel that way because that's really the only thing I want to do in life is make people feel happy. Make people happy one way or another. Of course I want to be happy too, but like what makes me happy is knowing I made other people happy.
Yeah, for sure. I've definitely ran with that ideology for sure, dude. The issue with that dinner too is like I was so willing to pay for the whole tab, but they just wouldn't let me. Like I literally talked to the waitress and I was like, "Come on, I'll pay well, I promise." Because like I just really wanted to pay for everything, and they were like, "Are you really adamant about paying?" And I was like, "More than you'll ever know." And they were like, "Fine, you can pay for half the bill." And I was like, "Is that as high as you'll go?" And they said, "Yep." And I was like, "Then I'll take it."
Damn.
And what sucks is like I don't know, I don't have a job right now, so I really shouldn't be making like moves like that, like throwing crazy money out because I spent like $100 while I was out there because I paid for like the 2 birthday people's bowling shoes and stuff whenever we went out bowling. And I bought these that night. But like I shouldn't be doing it, but like it just makes me feel too good to not.
Yeah, it makes you happy, and that's what matters. Well, it makes you happy, and it makes other people happy, which is just extra credit.
I just want to make as many people in my life's lives easier.
Yeah.
Like make everything work out the best that it possibly can.
Yeah, as somebody speaking for you and me, who has gone through a lot of hardship in their lives, like we want to minimize hardship on people.
I am a huge empath, and I know that like that words became a meme within the past like however long. Like I've seen it on TikTok. Like as an empath, I can kind of tell that they're upset whenever the other person's like raging, but like I feel like I can feel people's emotions and like feel people's energies really well compared to a lot of other people. Because I just like I've tried so hard to learn how to do it, and I have like even like over text and stuff. Like I can get a feeling, and I'll text somebody and ask them, "Hey, how are you?" And they're like, "Holy shit, I just had something horrible happen. How did you know?" And I was like, "I don't know. I just had a feeling, I guess."
Yeah. I mean, I can't say anything about synchronicity or anything about those specific events, but in terms of the empath thing, I'm very similar. People are going through something. If I suspect somebody's going through something, if I suspect somebody's upset, then I feel that, and it gets me upset, and I have to go talk to them, and I have to be like, "Hey,
definitely,"
and I have to put myself there because, like, course I care about this person, but a part of it is also selfish. A part of it is like, well, I can't be happy if you're not happy. So I want to make you happy so I can be happy. But like, of course that comes from a caring of other people.
Definitely.
So yeah, I'm a lot the same way, where I pick up on a lot of small cues where somebody's acting a little off, and I have to go up to them and be like, hey, so something's wrong. I can tell. You can talk to me, or you don't have to talk to me if you don't want to, but just know I'm here for you to listen if you need me, etc. Yeah.
Yeah, I like one time we were all in a call, like me, you, Teo, and Theodore, and like we were talking music or something, and everyone was talking about all their musical inquiries, and Theo, like I could tell, was feeling really off. So like after that conversation, I texted Theo, and I was just like, you are a very talented individual, and I love you very much. And he was just like, oh, you could tell, huh? And I was like, definitely. Because like Theo got quieter, and like, you know, like I love to catch things like that because I want to make sure everybody like feels valid and happy and as good as they could possibly feel. Like if somebody needs to talk, I'm there for them 100%. I'll listen to you rant forever and ever and ever and ever.
Theo is a very talented musician. Theo came up with the motif that I love so dearly and I've expanded to my own song, but it was Theo's motif originally.
Yeah, but like, you know, like Theodore doesn't feel as like valid in that space compared to like writing and stuff. Because Theodore is like an incredible writer, and like
I mean Theo knows how to write with musical notes. Like
exactly.
Theo uses like Finale and MuseScore and those kind of websites.
Yeah,
so
like Theodore, I feel like he doesn't give himself enough credit just in general.
I agree.
But that's like most people I know, to be fair.
By the way, this Theo will eventually be a guest on this podcast.
Guest
so
on the Ariah Jay podcast. Ooh.
Yes, he has shown interest, and it is in the works.
Theodore is one of my favorite people in the entire world, and I'm glad that we're gonna get him on for an episode.
Yeah, and I'm sure in that episode we'll touch on how we met, but
yeah, I'm gonna save that because that's a really cool story.
You guys met and how like him and I met back.
Yeah, exactly. I love the stories like
3.5 years ago.
Me and Theo have known each other for about almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in like March or April.
Really? I mean, when did you guys meet the first time?
Fuck, it was
before April 13th. It was before April.
It was that's what I'm saying. It's been almost 2 years.
Because I forgot about the D&D stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, of course, Theodore was in that not Doki Doki, but the Honey Pop in the intro of the Honey Pop.
Theo's
but we'll touch more heavily upon this later on. But I love him, and I'm glad that he's agreed to be on because I think that's going to be a really good episode because I have really good banter with him, and I think it'd be really entertaining.
I think it'll be really fun.
Anyway, so continuing off of this sort of stuff. Anything you're really excited about in your life currently?
Nothing short term. I'm just kind of sitting through it, working on some stuff creatively and stuff. Tomorrow is as we're recording this, tomorrow is the Jacksepticeye, how did I get here, like documentary thing.
That drops tomorrow?
Yeah, that's tomorrow.
That's sick.
I have tickets for it. Yeah,
Yo!
so I'm gonna see that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I love Jacksepticeye.
That's not super big, but that's great. March, there's like the Kirby game coming out, and what's it called? I
forgot there's a Kirby game.
Hyperbolica is a cool game that I'm very excited for coming out. It's very mathy and different types of geometry. It's pretty cool. Coming out March 14th. What else is coming out pretty soon? I forgot. At least one other thing in March, and then also come like April, I think. I'm excited to go to a little bit of a music festival in Grand Rapids. No,
that's
in Lansing. That has a couple artists that I've been really obsessed with lately that I'm excited to see.
That's sick.
And then of course June is the big HRT thing that I'm very excited for.
That's awesome, and I'm so happy about that. Another friend of mine recently got hormones for themselves, so I'm really happy about that
nice.
for them.
That's exciting.
I don't know. I think it's so cool how like now I'm friends with so many more people like within that like the LGBTQ You know, even like of course 2 years ago I knew like bi people and stuff, but like it wasn't like I wasn't so heavily within the space of people, you know, and like I'm very happy that I've gotten here and so much more educated than I was back in the day.
Yeah, Jay is S tier ally.
I've learned I would not put myself up that high. Not because I don't care. It's just because I feel like that's really narcissistic. But I feel like I've just loved like learning and trying to educate myself more because of the people that I'm around. I'm tired of having to ask so many questions, so I try to make it so that the questions I ask I Google rather than asking them, because it feels really like they don't have to educate me, and I wish more people felt like that.
Well, you know,
of course, like I know that you guys would.
Question.
Yeah, definitely not. But I'm saying like I don't want to ask questions constantly. Is what I'm saying. Like if there's a question, I don't just text out of the blue about it. I try to find out for myself as best that I can. You know.
Well, you could text out of the blue if you wanted to. If you can't figure it out.
Yeah, I know. I know that you wouldn't mind at all. But I also like to take some type of self responsibility the best that I can.
Of course.
That way, like I just like to make myself more and more educated on just things in general because I like learning. I think learning's really interesting. Of course, I don't like learning everything. Like, of course, like trigonometry, my least favorite thing in the entire world. And other people are like, trig's like one of the easiest things. Well, fuck you and your SOHCAHTOA bullshit.
I like trig. I think trig's fun, but it's not for everyone.
I don't understand trig is my biggest issue.
Well, if you need at some point outside of the podcast anything, then we can talk about it if you'd like to try to.
Yeah, because I really need to figure out how to do trig for my physics class. Because a lot of physics is trig, and it's freaking me out. I'll probably talk to you about it at some point outside of the podcast. But, you know, just a lot of, like, working through my senior year, finishing up. I'm in a culinary class right now, which is pretty interesting.
How's your senioritis?
You know, I'm ready. I'm scared.
Yeah.
Like the issue is that I'm like at a good 50-50 split. Like this 50-50 is like, holy shit, I'm so ready to be out. I'm going to go do so many crazy things and go take over the world. And the other end of me is like, no, I don't think I will.
Yeah, no, I'm happy in my secure, like,
yeah, exactly.
shitty high school.
Yeah, dude, but my high school is like one of the fucking worst. I fucking hate it. Like I don't think I've ever said what the high school is, and I don't think I ever will because it's awful, and I don't think it needs any publicity because it's one of the worst schools that's ever existed. I wish that it was a lot more better with its curriculums and stuff because like nobody prepared for college whenever they come out of this high school that I'm at.
Gosh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Like you know, like of course I'm not even sure if I'm actually gonna go, but you know, like there's some people who like who know they need it for what they want to do. So that's why I hate that. I wish that they'd figure out the system better. I've ranted and raved about that in my IRL, but there's no need for me to sit here and complain about it. Or at least not over the podcast. So pretty much my general gist right now is just figuring shit out and trying to get out. I don't even know where I'm going to be living. Hopefully not. Well, I mean, it's definitely not going to be in this room for very much longer. I just don't know if it's going to be like close or if I'm going to say fuck it and go all the way up to like Michigan.
Yeah,
because I got to figure that out. I got to figure that out sooner than later, because I've only got so much time left, which is wild to think about, you know. Because I'm like counting the days. There's like like you said, like what 2.5 months, something like that.
Yeah, I mean you can always go to like visit up here.
Yeah, and then
like right before you get your place,
figure it out.
And then go back down there for like a year, and then move up here a year later. Like you could
exactly.
You could do that as well.
Like I have all the time in the world, and especially if I'm not going to college, I don't have to worry about like sitting on a curriculum and stuff and having to figure out how that's going. Because I don't think that you need to go to college to figure your shit out, you know?
Oh, certainly not. Yeah,
like, I mean, and I'm definitely not going to go before I know what I'm doing, because that's like that's a waste of money and time.
For going back to college, because I did start going to college and then I stopped when COVID hit. So officially I'm seen as a college dropout because I am no longer enrolled in the college that I was once enrolled in, and I also don't have a degree. But no, and I'm thinking about going back, but I'm not sure if I need to. I'm trying to figure myself out. I'm trying to figure out, you know, certain things in my life, gender identity crisis, YouTube, general creative outlets and stuff, and I'm gonna
what
figure
I'm
all
saying
that
is
stuff out
hopefully I
first.
don't have to go. Hopefully both of us don't have to go. Hopefully we get this
Yeah.
shit figured out before then, and we can make plenty of money off of it and go take off and not even have to worry about it. You know,
Make
Like,
enough money to survive off of it. Yes,
as much.
I don't need to make plenty of money.
Dude, I don't know what it is. I was telling Ariah about this earlier, but I'm having such a weird thing with Kanye West lately. It's so weird,
Yeah.
and I don't understand it. Sorry, The College Dropout is either his first or second record. No, it's his second record. His first record's Late Registration, and his second record is The College
Yes.
Dropout.
For the record, we do not stand Kanye West.
No. That's not at all what it is. I've just had such a weird relationship
Yes.
with his music and stuff because whenever I first got on this call with Ariah, I had a Kanye West song stuck in my head. And, you know, like, Kanye West as a person, I don't really enjoy that much. Like, I don't know. I don't enjoy him. It's just, like, I think it's just all about the fact that his music is so fucking popular and he's made some of the most important hip-hop records that there are.
His work speaks for itself. Like he has good work.
That's what I'm saying. His work is not.
And I'm a strong believer.
Is what I'm saying. Separation of art from artist for sure.
Yeah, I'm a strong believer in being able to love art when you hate the artist.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to explain that. Is like my general gist is that I don't enjoy him as a person that much. He's kind of erratic and it's awful because he's bipolar and he's got all that shit going on in his head and it adds to the stigma because he is who he is, you know.
Which is unfortunate because there's not enough good representation of people with mental illnesses such as bipolar as well as other things.
That's what I'm saying.
If you have bipolar, doesn't mean you're a bad person. You can be good, but Kanye West supports a lot of things that I dislike, and
that's what I'm saying. Like Kanye West is such he just like adds to the stigma, and it makes me very upset.
Yeah, exactly.
But his hip hop records are some of the best in the world. I don't love him as a person, but his art is just stuff that I've enjoyed in my past listening habits. Mm-hmm. But you know, of course, there's like other people. Like, you know, there's plenty of artists who walk across that line of separating art from artists.
Yeah.
Like there was a certain point where Tyler the Creator was like an awful human being, or he seemed to be. But it makes more sense in context. He was just trying to say shit to get people to look at him, and then he grew up from there.
Yeah, there's also, like, the whole Tally Hall thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the Tally Hall thing?
I have no idea who that is.
Really? Do I know an artist you don't know?
Who's I may know them. Tally Hall, did you say? How do you spell that?
It's Tally, and then the word hall. 2 words. Here, listen to...
Wait, there was drama with these guys? What happened? I know. Wait, yeah. I know these guys. I recognize these titles. Okay.
Turn the lights off. Ruler of everything.
Yeah.
Ruler of everything.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard this shit. Wait, so what happened?
So apparently people say that the lead singer is transphobic.
No.
But I don't really know what happened because there's a lot of different versions of the story. I still listen to them. I still like their music. I've never met them personally. I've never seen an interview with them. I don't know them. I don't really care to know them.
It's separation of art from artist type stuff.
Yeah. I'm obviously not going to jump on the hate bandwagon because I don't know anything about what happened, really.
Exactly.
Just apparently the lead singer said some things. I didn't even read the things, to be completely clear. Apparently the other members of the band are supposedly more good people, and they might have even talked to him about stuff in private because he did apologize for what he said in a certain way. So I don't really know what happened, and I'm not here to say that good or bad, but I do like their music. Their music's pretty good. And it's that kind of separation thing. Even in this case, I don't really know if it applies or not. But I don't know the artists at all.
It's just such an issue looking at artists and their horrible takes. And then also, dude, the worst part is whenever they're a horrible artist and they have horrible takes. Like Machine Gun Kelly, that motherfucker. Have you seen the videos of people shitting on his music?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know anything about Machine Gun Kelly except for "E-Girls Are Ruining Your Life" by Corpse.
That's not what Machine Gun Kelly was on. He was on Daywalker with Corpse.
Are you sure?
E-Girls Are Ruining My Life has Savage Gasp.
It does. You're right. I'm sorry.
No,
I
you're
mixed
good.
those two up.
But Machine Gun Kelly and Corpse did that song Daywalker.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, punch that
I mixed those two
motherfucker
songs
in the
up.
face.
No, I missed the two artist names up. That's the problem.
Uh-huh. But generally speaking, Machine Gun Kelly, I have an issue with his music because he sounds so, like... I don't even think that he's got, like, the worst music in the world, but his music's really, like, monotone sounding. And, like, the covers that he's done are so auto-tuned and just boring, in my opinion. But
That's fair.
The issue is that he's said things, like, back in, like... I don't even know. It was, like, really early, like, 2010s, probably. Whenever he was in his 20s. He's, like, 30 now, and he's talking about being in love with emo girls, which I don't understand. I fell in love with an emo girl. Like, that's actually how he sounds on that song.
Trying to
appeal to the
cash
kids
in on the
sure.
Eagles Renew Your Life.
The issue is that Green Day's doing that right now, too, because he's, like, 50, and he was talking about, like, high school stuff, and it makes me really sad. But,
Ouch.
MGK, it's just, like, he got to a certain point, and, like, you just look at old tweets of his, he was, like, calling Eminem's daughter hot whenever she was underage. And he was saying like 13-year-olds were like he tweeted once like, why are 13-year-old girls so hot? It makes me feel so creepy. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Why would you?
It's like, why would you tweet that? Like he said that years
even
ago.
putting past the moral aspect of it, the fact that is creepy and bad.
But why would you like out yourself to
say
your fan base? Yeah, your entire fan base knows you're a fucking.
That's literally incriminating.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But, you know, like, it's like artists who have such horrible takes and say such horrible things drive me insane. I don't understand it at all. It doesn't make any sense, and I don't think it ever will. I wish there was a point that I could sit here and be like, yeah, everything's great, and all these artists are doing such great things, you know? It doesn't, but Role Models by AJR is the perfect way to explain what I'm trying to say. All my role models are on TV for the wrong reasons. You know, like, there's so many people who are out right now who are making such amazing art, or they're such great actors, or they're doing such great, like, art things, but they're such horrible people, you know, and I'm really annoyed by it.
Yeah.
Like, you take my...
And I really love the art if I kinda hate the artist.
Well, you know, like, you get into that separation of art versus artist, like we were talking about earlier, which I think can completely be done, but some people don't think it can be done. But, like...
Yeah, I mean, I think it can, because, like, while that person did make it and has a part of themselves in it, and sometimes that does actually manifest, sometimes it doesn't, the art itself exists outside of the person, and especially if the art itself doesn't reference anything to do with the reasons why this person's a bad person, then it's, like...
Definitely.
Then it's fine. Like... big example is Minecraft. You know, like, Minecraft, I think, is one of the most revolutionary games ever. Like, regardless of if you personally like to play or watch Minecraft content, like, it's still one of the most influential and one of the most, like, innovative video games of all time.
Yeah,
and it is a really good video game. But Notch clearly has a lot of bigoted views and is not the best person.
Definitely.
And there is a separation there, because Minecraft... it's a video game, has nothing to do with anything that Notch dislikes or likes or whatever, right? It is just a video game that Notch has created, and we can make that separation between art and artist because the game itself is unproblematic. It's a good video game that people like, and there's no reason to have people miss out on that just because its creator was a bad person. So there's this kind of separation between art and artist.
The thing that's hard is whenever you go to, like, J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter, because a lot of Harry Potter in hindsight has such a lot of J.K. Rowling's views sprinkled throughout that we didn't even catch until we realized it, which really bugs me.
And we mentioned that last time.
Did I? I wasn't paying it. I don't remember. I probably
was it
did.
last time or was it in a Homestick video? I think it might have been last. I forgot. It was in one piece of content that I edited.
One piece of content. Yeah, exactly. Like, it sucks to me that her was sprinkled so much into that story that it's really hard to separate art from artist there. The reason that I'm still cool with, like, watching I haven't even really watched the Harry Potter movies, to be honest with you.
So the Harry Potter movies are good. I like the Harry Potter.
Yeah. Everyone's told me that I need to, like, binge watch the movies. But I haven't had any time, unfortunately. I've read all the books, of course, so, like, I know the story and nothing's really going to get spoiled. Excuse me.
So, hot take, I don't like J.K. Rowling's writing style. I never did.
I don't remember enough of J.K. Rowling's writing style. I just remember binge reading the books.
I read all the books. I liked the story. Didn't like the writing style.
That's fair.
But I don't know. I like the movies better than the books.
I just hate that she was so like into that, you know, like she like added so many of her political biases and things like that into it.
A lot of eugenics. Yeah.
It bothers me. It bothers me quite a bit. But because like, you know, that was such a great piece of my childhood, and it kind of soils it whenever you see stuff like that, you know. It's like, I don't know, it gets really hard especially whenever we aren't 100% sure what happened with certain things, like Michael Jackson, or well, regardless, he was kind of creepy for sleeping in beds with children anyway. Like, even if he didn't do anything, that's still kind of creepy.
Yeah, I don't know about Michael Jackson. I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a hard... we could probably make a whole episode speculating on Michael Jackson if we really wanted to. I don't want to, but I'm saying we could. Like, there's been so many documentaries and shit. And, of course, like, R. Kelly's a piece of shit.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, like, there's so many artists that have been such pieces of shit. And generally speaking, to overarch this entire concept, before I go into every artist that's been shitty, which it would be a really long list. Like, I think Pete Davidson on SNL did a bit where he literally listed, like, all the ones you could think of, and it was, like, 50, 60 different names. It was so funny. Yeah. But generally speaking, I'm just, like, I hate that so many artists, especially, like, such prominent ones that do such, like, important things to the space, can be so shitty, you know?
Yeah, it's really a tragedy. It's like, I don't know, people need to be better.
Why
can't people just be good people?
I don't know.
Why can't people just be good people? Like, it's easy to be a good person.
If I ever get rich and... Well, not if I ever... Whenever I'm rich and famous, if there's ever something that you disagree with me on, either have a conversation with me, or if it's bad enough, smack me.
Sounds good.
I don't think it would get bad enough to where you'd have to smack me, but still.
I don't think so either.
Jay Wilson. But, you know...
Jay Wilson, indeed.
Jay Wilson, what?
I just said Jay Wilson, indeed.
Jay Wilson, indeed. I'm gonna be so rich and famous, and I'm gonna do such crazy shit. I need to start uploading those. I recorded a cover, and I need to upload it.
Yeah, you should do that.
It was like Rex Orange County's best friend that I'm really happy with.
Hell yeah! I want to listen to it.
I've played that for you before.
You have.
And it's one of my favorite covers that I can do, because I do this, like, I love how my voice sounds over it, because it's, like, in my perfect range. And, like, I don't think there's a lot of songs that hit right in my perfect range. Like, there's a lot of songs that I've covered, and people are like, you have to, like, upload a cover of that, because I love listening to it. And that's I love hearing that. Like, a validation for artists is my favorite thing in the entire world. I was talking to Theo about it a long time ago, because, like, whenever I see, like, his art or his writing, I'm like, holy shit, that's so good. And, like, you know, like, it just feeds the creative urge, because you want to write more so that you can hear more of that validation. And you just continue the cycle forever. It's amazing, and I love it.
Yeah, it's a positive feedback loop.
You know, and that's why I want to start uploading covers, so that I can get more of that positive feedback, so I get more of, like, the push to move into stuff, you know? Because, like, if I get more of that positive validation from not only the people in my life, but, like, people outside of my life, then I feel like that's going to be the push to actually, like put out my songs, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
And it sucks that my self-validation is so low that I kind of need that. But, you know, you do what you got to do. Yeah. I'm no Tyler the Creator, Kanye West, you know, like, huge, like, or Childish Gambino. Like, I don't mean, like, their, like, political views or anything, but, like, they're fucking, like, egos. You know, like, those motherfuckers sit there and they're like, I'm the best and there's no one better than me. And I wish I had more of that mentality, and I don't mean that. As much
as Jay jokes about that, it's not actually what Jay believes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, as much as I wish that I could sit here and think that I'm a god and think that I'm running everything and that I am the best, I don't have that mentality.
Yeah.
I think that I'm probably... I don't even think I'm average half the time. You know, I think that's a normal person's thought process.
Yeah, I have a weird relation with that. Like, I don't know. I don't think I'm better than people per se. Mm-hmm. But I have this weird, like, this weird, I don't know even how to word it, like this weird like discrepancy, this weird combination of like self-esteem and lack of self-esteem, where around strangers I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm better than strangers, these guys suck, you know. I guess that's probably the wrong way to word it, but like, I don't know, I keep hearing all these stories of people, like all these like horrible people in the world, or these people who are just dumb, or like just so many people are just average, they're fine with a 9-to-5 job, they go home, they have a family, they are interested in electric trains, and they die. And I'm like, I'm better than that person, is like what my subconscious says, even though, or my conscious says even, and then I'm like, that's a bad thing to say. I don't actually like, I don't know. But then you end up with me and anybody that I know personally, and a friend of mine, and then I have the biggest, what's the word? Opposite of narcissist, like the.
Fuck. Like inferiority complex.
Yeah, there we go. The biggest inferiority complex around people that I know, like anybody that I get to know.
Do you have inferiority complex
all
whenever it comes to me, Ariah? Do I give you
in some ways, yes. In some ways, yes.
What gives you an inferiority complex about me, Ariah?
Well, your music skills, for one, is the big thing. Also, I'm so envious of your method of commentating. Like, I'm so
what do you
envious
mean, my
of your
method of commentating?
Well, like, I feel like when I record with anybody else, I don't get the same level of commentary as I do with you. Because you are so good at driving that conversation forward, and you're so good at just saying things on your mind, and you're so good at providing interesting commentary by yourself even, that someone like me who's good bouncing off people will take and create good rapport between the two of us. And I'm so jealous of that style of commentating, because I really wish I could do good solo commentary and good commentary with other people.
Well, to be fair, I haven't done that much solo commentary, to be fair.
No. Yeah, I guess you should find out. Maybe it's just a thing between the two of us that we're very good at commentary, but I think you are also good at commentary with other people, which is why...
Yeah, I think that in general, in just my life, and like this isn't me being like, holy shit, I'm just born to be an entertainer. Whoa. And I'm Kanye West, sorry. I love just saying I'm Kanye West in like the worst Kanye impression ever, and just I feel like he's one of those motherfuckers that sits there and says his name over and over again, you know? Yeah. Like he's one of those bitches that's like, I'm Kanye West, and like expects that to like get him to do into anything, you know? Like he goes to a restaurant, says he's Kanye West, and expects them to have him a table open or something.
Yeah, of course.
But generally speaking, I think my style of commentary just comes from talking to people that I enjoy talking to, because I'm such a social person that I push conversations. Like the awkward silence in the car rides and stuff. Like I'm the person pushing the conversation forward. Because I
would love to. I just can't think of things to talk about.
I just I read the room, or like I read the call, and like if I feel like, hey, I'll throw this out, and if this doesn't work, I'll throw another thing out. Like, you know, like that. I think the mentality you have to have for that style of commentary is just like, hey, the worst thing they'll say is I'm not interested in that, and then you can move on. You just throw out whatever is in your head rather than keeping it in there. Like you don't keep it bottled, or else you don't get anywhere. Yeah,
that's totally fair. I mean, I don't know. I like commentary for me comes like I have to work for it.
Mm-hmm.
When for you it seems very effortless.
I really don't think about it, and I know that's like kind of like a holy shit, I can't believe you don't have to think about that, you know, but like it's just what my brain does, because as I've previously stated, I'm not diagnosed, but there's probably a very good chance I'm ADHD, because my brain's so fucking like fast paced. It goes from like bang bang, and I think that's part of why I'm so good at bringing up things. Because like my thought process goes from thing to thing to thing so fast.
See, I am fairly confident that I am ADHD as well at this point, but I think it's a little different than that for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. In terms of commentary, I can't really pinpoint exactly like how it relates to that, but I don't know.
I just feel like,
but fair enough.
I feel it just like the way that my brain works, where I'm constantly like bouncing between ideas. Like I think that's why my creative receptors, I'm not sure why, but that's like the biggest part of my brain. And that's the place where it goes bang, 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 bang. and like you just say stuff that comes to mind because I'm always thinking about stuff, or like I pull something that I thought about like yesterday and throw it into whatever I'm working on today, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm that much better at commentary than you, to be fair.
Well, I mean, when I say this, I think we are very good at co-commentary. Mm-hmm. We're very good at talking with each other, right?
Yeah.
But whenever I try, like, for example, I record with N sometimes, just some stuff that we've never uploaded, and we might someday, mm-hmm. I don't know. And we're not nearly as good at talking together and pushing forward commentary as, like, I am with you, you know? Yeah. And even, like, Inna said to me when we've recorded the three of us together, in the Deltarune series that's coming up, by the way, it's the three of us, and has mentioned afterwards, like, God, like, I wish I could, like, do commentary like Jay, you know? Because they speak a lot more when they're with you, you know? And, you know, like, I don't know, you do drive that conversation forward, which is the part that I lack. I lack that driving the conversation forward part, right? Because I don't know what to say.
I take that as a huge compliment, though. Like, I really appreciate that people, like, whenever we're done recording are like, shit, that was nice. I love hearing that, you know?
Yeah. I'm so glad. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing, right? That's what I want to work on. That's what I strive to get to your level, you know? Like, it's
my level. That feels so fucking narcissistic.
Your level of commentary.
I really appreciate that,
things,
though.
You know?
Like, I really appreciate. I don't know. Sorry, I'm not meaning to interrupt you. I'm just saying, like, I really appreciate that, and that means a lot to hear people say that, you know? God, I wish I could I could commentate like Jay. That's such a cool sentence to hear. Like, you never said that before. That's so cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Feed my ego, please. I don't have very much of one. But, you know, like, of course there are things that I don't know. There's definitely things that I wish I could do that you can do, like editing. I wish I was a lot better at that. Like, that's something that I feel like
it's not that hard.
Yeah, I'm sure that if I actually put in time, but, like, you're cool with putting the time in to work on editing and stuff. I'm not.
Well, see, I see that comes from me being a natural multitasker, right? So, like, when I'm editing, I'm not just editing. I'm editing and looking at something else, editing and reading something.
Yeah, the thing is, obviously, whenever I edit, I feel like I can't listen to a bunch of different things, or I feel like I get distracted. It's not that I'm a bad multitasker. It's just that, like, there's, like, everything else going on would catch my eye so much more than the editing would. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, that's what my thing is.
I do have to rewind occasionally if I find myself distracted occasionally, but
because I remember I edited the Doki Doki series, and I wasn't able to, like, it felt so boring, and I felt like I didn't enjoy it that much, you know, which was fine. Like, I'm not sitting here like it's supposed to be the most enjoyable thing in the entire world or anything, but like, editing's just not my forte. It's not something that I sit there and I'm able to do. I wish I could do that, and I wish I could make thumbnails like you can, because I love some of the thumbnails that you've made. They're so cool and creative, and I love the things that you add to things. I wish
Jay, I could teach you how to make thumbnails that I make in 5 minutes. It's so easy. Like seriously, like, well, I mean, for Homestuck, the font is Courier New, mm-hmm. right? Our logo font is Ravi, Ravie, right? Mm-hmm. Like, there's just, you pick a font for a series. You literally, every single Homestuck thumbnail is from a Homestuck panel or Homestuck Flash, a screenshot, cropped, and then either the top and bottom is cropped out to make it widescreen, mm-hmm. or some extra, like, color is added to the sides to make it widescreen. Yeah, and then I just literally use the text feature to write a number in, hit the outline feature built into Paint.net, and use a gradient with one of the colors of the rainbow.
Yeah, like, but Ariah, you have the patience to go back through the comic and find the perfect thing to put in the thumbnail. I don't.
The longest thumbnail that I had to the longest time it took me to create any specific thumbnail, not including times to figure out which thumbnail, because there's been times I've had, like, 4 different possible thumbnails and sent to the Discord server for them to figure out. Mm-hmm. But to make any individual thumbnail, no thumbnails take me longer than 2 minutes to make.
Yeah, for sure. But, like, you know, like, you knew how to do that before we even got here. And, like,
yes.
You knew... I envy the fact that you had so much more knowledge than me whenever we first started. Well, I envy the fact that you've had enough patience to work on content creation for so fucking long. You know?
I feel like I am deflecting more than I should be. I'm sorry, but I appreciate it.
You were 8, motherfucker. You were 8.
Yeah. I was 8 in the first video I made, which I still haven't showed
you didn't delete that shit. Like you like brought it down, but you didn't delete it.
I unlisted it. Yes, I unlisted
you
it.
Unlisted is completely different than deleting. I couldn't even bring myself to unlist anything because I never wanted to see that shit ever again. Like you were able to like leave that up there and be like, yeah, I love looking back at this, and I wish that I was able to do that back in the day, but I wasn't able to. You know, like, I'm such a perfectionist, and I wish that I had the ability to, like, leave things up that I'm not 100% proud of. And, of course,
I've been debating whether I should unlist everything that I did on the INT Gamer channel.
I think you should keep it there.
I mean, I wouldn't delete it, but I'm kind of thinking about unlisting it, but I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. But, like, you know, like, it's amazing to me that, like, you had so much patience that you kept working and working and working and until you eventually you found somebody that you liked working with. You know?
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
And, like, you know, it took me one shot.
I just loved doing it. Mm-hmm.
You know, and like, you love the whole process, and I don't think I love the whole process.
That's fair. Yeah, I love the whole process. I do not love some of the individual parts of the process, but I love the process as a whole, I think, yeah.
That's what I envy the most, is that you love the whole process while I love just the creating.
That's fair.
Like, I love being the person that comes in and talks and makes so many, like, good points and is able to drive the conversation the best way that it possibly can be made. But I'm not built for sitting there and scrounging at the editing. Or, like, sitting there and trying to find a good way to make a thumbnail.
Hey, then we make a perfect team, right? Because you're good at driving that forward, and I'm good at
exactly, like, you know,
it out there.
like creatively speaking, I think we're definitely on the same level. It's just different things.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we're very equal. It's just like we have things that we wish we had in each other. And we both are going to work on that, because there's things that I'm probably going to have to edit within my time. Either that or pay people to edit it. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. I'll figure it out.
Hey, you know, you could always talk to me about editing, and I can edit it with you. Like, you could be editing, and I can give you advice or whatever. And
like whenever you had to teach me how to cut things out of Audacity files and stuff.
Yeah, back in the day.
But, you know, this is I don't know, I really like that quite a bit. But, you know the best thing that the thing that I like the most about us, Ariah, the thing that I most love the most about us, Ariah, is that we aren't sellouts. We don't, you know, we've never asked for money.
We don't ask our subscribers for money. We don't do anything.
We've never opened a Patreon. You know, like, we have the most class out of anyone in the entire world. I think that's what I envy the most out of both of us.
Yeah, can you, like, believe that YouTubers exist? Wait, can you believe that YouTubers exist that, like, take sponsorships and, like, have a Patreon, ask their subscribers for money? Like that is such a scummy thing to do.
Ariah, you know what the craziest thing would be is if you went down to, like, the description of this video, or you went to, like, Patreon, or you looked up Ariah Jay, and you saw, like...
Patreon.com/Ariah Jay. Same as the YouTube channel. Patreon.com/Ariah Jay.
That doesn't exist,
It's a website that probably will never exist, right? Probably. Maybe.
Anyway, folks, so, you know, like, this podcast, you know, we don't make any money off of this. However... If we were approached with a sponsorship...
Or a YouTube channel. We do the YouTube channel as well, right?
Yeah,
none of our content makes any money.
But... You guys remember how I wanted money in women? Well, I'm making that first step. Well, we're both making this first step.
So, Jay, let's talk to the audience. Audience, has this ever happened to you? Jay... I'm listening to my favorite podcast, the Ariah Jay podcast. I think they should continue making their stuff, and I also want to listen to their episodes 1 week early. What should I do?
No. Patreon.com/Ariah Jay will have the thing for you, I'll tell you. So you go down, there are multiple tiers, I'll tell you. These multiple tiers are amazing, and you'll love them. If you give $1 a month, I don't remember what you get for $1 a month, Ariah. What do you get? What do they get for $1 a month? I remember the $5.
Oh, come on, Jay, okay. So yes,
I never looked at. I didn't look at what you put for $1. I just saw what you put for $5.
Okay, so I guess some context here. Yes, we do have a Patreon now, which is fine. You do not have to subscribe to Patreon if you are a listener of this podcast. If you are,
you won't miss out on anything.
As long like we love you no matter what. And we will never have exclusive content, be it like video wise, on Patreon or on you know, like
we aren't completely selling out. We promise.
No. the only thing that we'd ever put behind money is any merch we might make someday, because obviously it takes, like, it costs money to do that.
It costs money.
If we ever, like, sink time into a project like a video game or like a film or something,
we'd probably put that behind a paywall, but we need it. Yeah,
not a Patreon thing. It would be
not for like YouTube videos
product we
or
sat down and
like
made,
that.
but for any of our regular content like that, then we would never put it exclusively behind. We're not going to have extra episodes for Patreon or anything like that. But what we will do is we'll have a Patreon with 2 tiers. The first tier is only $1 a month, and this is just general support, right? So if you want to if you have any extra money lying around and you want to send it our way so that we can make better quality things and be more happy doing it, even more excited to do it, I suppose. And that would be great. We'd love it. You certainly don't have to, but the $1 tier will get you just basically thanks, right? And at the end of every podcast
we thank you at the
out,
end of the podcast and stuff.
Yeah, at the end of every podcast that comes out while you're an active Patreon, we're going to thank you by name, and just appreciate you guys every time.
And then the $5 tier.
And the $5 tier, if you do want to pay a little bit more, if you want to pay $5 a month or more, but like $5 is the minimum, for some reason, then we're going to give you a little extra benefit of having one of these podcast episodes a week early.
Yeah, it's not like you get...
We're going to make sure to have one.
Yeah, it's not like necessarily something that you get like... It's not like you're going to get it and no one else is going to get it. It's like you get it early is the only thing.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like regular podcast listeners will get the same thing just the next week.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you just want to be 1 week ahead, which obviously isn't at a faster rate as anybody else, so it's not necessarily an exclusivity thing. But it's like if you wanted to pay a little more money, then we'll give it to you because you deserve it, and we really appreciate it. It's above and beyond. Like
definitely,
it's so appreciated. And if any one of you has the money for it, that you're not spending anything else, then we would very much so appreciate it.
Definitely,
and that's a little extra bonus you get, even though that after that 1 week it goes out to everyone. It's a little extra exclusivity thing, just a temporary thing for people who want to and can, because we certainly don't need it, but having that little extra padding, like just a little, even if it's like $2 a month,
it'll help.
It does wonders for our mental health and our kind of incentive.
It makes us that like if we save up for a few months, we could buy something that we need, like. Yeah. Of course, it'll pay for like the cord that I'm getting for the new webcam that I'm going to be using soon.
Yeah, things like that. I'll pay for that, or perhaps like if we ever want to buy a game for the channel, it can pay for eventually.
Exactly.
Like it's like the podcast is like the reward, I suppose, getting an episode early, but like it might pay for a game that we buy for the channel.
Yeah, it'll definitely help.
Just little things to make that better.
Content will
because we're not making any money off of
it
currently, so like that's a good way for us to kind of make our content free, and still not spend anything on making content.
Definitely
is really the main thing. Yeah. So if you want to do that, patreon.com/Ariah Jay. If you're listening on YouTube, then it's in the description. Otherwise, it's pretty easy. Just Ariah Jay, our names that you can see in the title of the podcast. Patreon.com/Ariah Jay. If you're interested, it's
definitely not a required thing. Just something we thought we'd add.
Nope, our Discord community is open to everyone regardless of that, although I might have role integration in that. We'll see. You might have fancy role and stuff, but like...
Yeah, definitely. Just something to make sure that people who do it are appreciated, because we appreciate it quite a bit. I can't imagine people wanting to, but if you want to, we really appreciate it and we want to make sure that you know that.
Yeah, I'm not expecting anybody to. Like, I mean, I'm putting this out there in case somebody wants to.
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
Anybody
because
to.
We've seen people like boost the server and stuff. So like, if they wanted,
people boost the server, right? Spend money with Discord to boost the server, and I'm like, well, if they're willing to do that, we might as well have this as an alternative.
Exactly.
Option,
and like we said, it won't even matter. We'll still do the same thing either way. It's just an option.
Yeah. This is an option. And again, you could come up to us and you could be like, hey guys, I like watching your stuff. I do not want to give you any money. And I'm like, you know what? Cool. Good job.
Yeah.
I love
we
you
could
anyways.
like shake hands, high five,
There's no reason. There's no reason. Like, you don't have to at all. Like, no obligation whatsoever. We love you anyways. And our content will always be there for you.
So I think that's
getting the same thing.
I think that's a good place to leave off. We had a really good conversation today. I really enjoyed all the topics that we got into. I told you, Ariah, being impulsive is the best way to do this shit.
Yeah, I think being impulsive is the best way to do our episodes. However, we're probably going to need topics for the guest episodes.
Definitely, yeah. But I'm saying, like, for, like, the one-on-one episodes, I think that we're...
Agreed.
Definitely, especially
is the best way.
coming back to my driving the conversation forward, you just throw random things in and things happen. So
yeah, and I think this is going to be a good episode. I'm excited.
Definitely. All right, so anyway, folks, all you beautiful, valid people out there, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. If you made it all the way through, please like and subscribe to the podcast channel.
Rate us 5 stars on
Rate us on 5 stars
platforms.
Yeah, well, if we start getting like good ratings and shit, we'll read them out on the podcast. Why the fuck not?
Yeah, I don't. Are there like text ratings or is it just?
Yeah, there's text ratings. It's on like 5 stars
really?
on Apple Podcasts. If they leave 5 stars, they can like leave like actual text ratings. So if you listen over Apple Podcasts, then you can leave a 5-star and put something. And if we'll definitely read it out and be like, hey, thanks so much. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
if you can tell me where to find that.
Yeah, I'll show you. We'll figure it out. But definitely look at all of our other stuff, our YouTube channel, not just this one, but the other one. Go check it out if you haven't already. We got some good stuff there. Probably something that you'll enjoy if you enjoy nerdy shit like we do. I've got a Twitter. Well, we've got a Twitter that I run if you want to go check that out, because I tweet every once in a while. I've been really bad with it lately, but I'll come back to it at some point. Ariah's got the TikTok that Ariah will definitely post on at some point soon. Hopefully.
Yeah, I've also been very bad with it, but I will definitely get back to it.
Yeah, we'll both try to work on that. You know, but generally speaking, yeah, I really appreciate you guys, and I'm sure Ariah does too. Definitely. But
yes.
Yeah, I don't think that there's anything really that I'm missing. Patreon, like we said, I think that's everything that I need to add. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Love y'all.
Peace.
Bye.